Alright, sup bros? I'm just making this video because I keep on seeing really bad arguments on base market about religion and everything else. Now, before I would just type like, really big wall of text and everything. But, it's just very and I thought maybe I can make a video and just like post it every time this bad argument comes up and, hopefully the person, considers my points and, get some thinking a little bit. I mean, I'm not here to like really chase anybody's opinion. I'm just here to like point out a few flaws in the general reasoning, and that's that's it. Nothing major. Now, the comment that got my attention was made by a dude called Job R. Joe. Now, he brought up what is known as the fine-tuning argument. It's basically an argument that brings up, the complexity of life and the statistical improbability that it would exist. So if you ask any physicists, they would tell you, oh yeah, like organic life has a number of requirements that are very hard to fulfill. You need to, you can't have it too close to the sun, you can't have it too far away, you need to have, certain guidelines, and they're hard to be met. Now, theists point to this and say, well, what are the chances? Obviously, somebody had to interfere, somebody must have had a goal in mind, and that's someone they attribute to God, a divine deity, and everything else. Now, upon first inspection, the argument seems pretty damn solid. Unfortunately, once you kind of analyze it and everything else, the points kind of break down. Now, my first objection to this argument is actually rather simple. If we're dealing with an omniscient, omnipotent God that wanted to create life, why did he place all these restrictions on life? It doesn't make any sense. If my goal is to create life and I can set the rules of creation, why would I make it so hard to create life? Why would I make all these dumb rules like, oh, you can't have too much heat, you can't have too much that? Why would I set up hurricanes and all this stuff that potentially destroys it and makes formation of life, almost impossible? It seems kind of counterproductive, If God wanted to make life and he had the power to do so, he could make organic life exist in the sun for all he fucking cares. So it makes no sense, Now, I understand that this is not a solid objection and it doesn't completely disprove the argument, but it even brings up some troubling points about it, And you can certainly make the argument, oh, God made it really hard for life to exist, so we can derive a fine-tuning argument to prove its existence. That's really the argument, in my opinion, because I think that the formation of life everywhere would be much more impressive and much more indicative to higher design than, barely any life existing at all in such a wide range of the universe. And a lot of the universe, pretty much trying to kill life, still unconductive to it. So it's pretty iffy in my opinion. But moving on. Another problem with this is, people say oh, it's like winning the lottery when the chances are 1 in a trillion. Wouldn't you suspect that something's intriguing? Wouldn't you suspect that something's at hand here? Because statistically speaking, what are the chances of winning? The problem is, they're assuming that life is the winning number. What I mean by this is, suppose you have a big bowl of numbers or whatever, 1 through 8 billion, let's say. Now, you tell somebody, pick a random number. They dig in the bowl and they get the number 7. Okay, there's something impressive about it. Yeah, I mean, getting number 7 is kind of cool because you had only 1 in 8 billion of chance of drawing it, but okay, whatever. Same thing with life, okay, we got life instead of no life. That's pretty cool, I guess. We got 7 instead of no 7, I guess. Who cares? See, it's not impressive if we don't declare, when we're drawing, we don't really have an idea what's winning and what's not. Now, what the fine-tuning argument does is, they dig into the bowl, they pull out the number 7 and say, oh look, I got the winning number, when we had never even declared what a winning number was before. It's just like drawing a number and declaring whatever you draw to be winning. Who gives a shit? Now, if you had said before drawing it, I'm going to pull the number 7, and we're going to make that the winning number, and you actually got the number 7 out, that would be intriguing, that would be very impressive, and I would actually want to know what's at hand here. But that's not what happened. It's only after the formation of life that we declared it the lucky thing, like the winning number. It's only after we drew it and saw what we had that we declared it the winning number. It doesn't work like that. You can't build an argument like that. That's not logic. That's not good. So that's very flawed. Now, Christian apologists, and this is somebody who goes around trying to prove their religion and defend it, brought up the following analogy to illustrate why the fine-tuning argument supposedly works after these objections were brought up. Suppose you're playing a game of poker, and 8 times in a row, your opponent draws a full house. Now he says, wouldn't you have good reason to suspect that something else is at hand here? That yeah, I mean it's statistically speaking, it is very possible that he drew a full house, but wouldn't you suspect that it's more likely that he's cheating? Similarly, given the astronomically low conditions life would have formed, don't you suspect that there's also some cheating going on in the universe? You know, it seems like a very solid, interesting objection, but there's 2 major problems with it. Now, the first, though, we're considering the universe as a whole, right? So that's really only one draw. That's it. That's what we're basing this off. So if my opponent got a full house, only one draw, I really have no basis whatsoever to accuse him of cheating. Now, if we're considering multiple universes and all of them were like non-conductive to life and everything, and they all had life, then yeah, Craig's analogy would hold. You know, like maybe something else is at play here. But since we're only considering one draw, one universe, one draw, the argument is no. But there's an even bigger problem in hand. When I'm playing a game of poker, I already know I'm up against rational agent. I already know that he has motivation to cheat, and I already know he has motivation to win. On the other hand, when I'm dealing with the universe, I have no idea who I'm dealing with. I have no idea if I'm dealing with a rational agent, which could be God, or if I'm dealing with like nothing at all. So I have no idea who my opponent is. I have no idea who's making the draws or the mechanisms for the draws or anything else. So I have no idea who I'm up against. So I cannot say, oh, that guy is cheating, because I don't even know if I'm playing against another person. For all I know, I'm playing against a fucking computer. You know, and if I'm playing against a computer, obviously I can't accuse it of like intentionally cheating or anything else, unless it was programmed for it, but that's another point. You know, so I have no epistemological basis for my accusation of cheating or anything else. Whereas in a game of poker, I already know how a person is likely to behave. I already know that they have a motivation to behave. I already know that they have the capability to cheat and everything else. But with the universe, no. So as you can see, none of these fine-tuning arguments work. And there are statistical arguments against fine-tuning argument. Actually, I'm not very good at statistics. I've barely even studied it, so I cannot offer them to you. But it is interesting to note that a number of Christian apologists that are actually mathematicians have actually dismissed the fine-tuning argument and called it kind of crappy. So this should just be a huge red flag that the argument is not sound if even mathematicians or Christian cannot accept it. Alright, so that's really all I have to say on the subject matter. I hope you found this video interesting and not too boring, and I hope the audio quality proved to be okay. Alright, see ya bros, have fun.